However, if you are talking about improving cybersecurity posture in the real manner, I haven't seen that happen. That's why I stopped
Type na po.
doing APT. Okay, thank you, Len.
Thank you,
And
Len.
yeah, let's just share muna.
Yeah, we just need to share the Facebook Live so that we can reach as many kababayans as we can, as many
Sure.
viewers as we can. Okay,
No worries.
we'll just do it.
I'm as ready as I'm ever be.
All right. Oops. Wait. Oh, where am I? Okay.
I almost misspelled CloudSec.
I don't blame you. I totally understand.
Okay, I just need to. Okay. It's still not showing. Okay. It's all right.
So yeah, good afternoon. Si Miss Mai Surya is watching. Hi Mai, how are you? Ito si Mai sa atin, napakagandang taga B1G2. Taga B1G2, taga ano ba tong si Mai? Kalimutan ko yung ni Mai. Then si Pres Alan from our Bacolod chapter. The only cyber ninja, the one and only cyber ninja, Lieutenant Colonel Rod Quinto. Good afternoon, cyber ninja. So as we were watching from the source of Army standards, Kabanatuan, the Army Signal School. So it's because we started with VAPT. It's the standards compliance requirements when we started that, because when the hacking started to go big, or grow big during that time, and the audit firms, they came up with risk advisory. With risk advisory, I was there. I built the risk advisory service of KPMG Philippines.
I see.
And part of it is security, privacy, and continuity. So there was the ethical hacking that eventually became penetration testing.
Yeah.
But risk assessment being done periodically, but not very frequently. So, but until today, we have seen is the growing in terms of money, in terms of amount of money, the growing financial losses that the global community incur year on year. It never went down,
Yeah,
mind
of
you.
course. Yeah, I agree.
And the size of data stolen due to
Mhm,
cyber attacks every
mhm,
year
mhm,
going up.
mhm.
Right? But
Oh,
before maybe around more than 10 to 15 years ago,
mhm,
we had a perfect reason, no? Because it was very difficult to convince our bosses
mhm.
to spend money on
Oh, yeah.
cybersecurity.
Yeah, it's a black hole, right? It's a
Yeah,
cost
but
center.
probably less than 10 years from
Mhm,
now, the executives and the board already started to recognize the importance. And we can no
true.
longer say that there is no money, there is no budget. No, that's no longer true because
Correct.
organizations, even small organizations, they spend
Mhm,
a certain amount of money,
mhm,
and the technology is getting better,
mhm.
more intelligent, as we call it.
True, true, true.
But still, we are not getting any better because
Uh-huh.
we have seen the threat actors to be uh, in more sophisticated and has grown much better than the defenders because there's the it's a very long value chain for the defenders
Mhm,
and very short value chain for the attackers. Yeah, like now we have CloudSec,
mhm.
and how many more? There's a lot. There's just a lot, and the firewalls have become more,
Mhm.
dashing.
Dashing. That's quite a choice of adjective there.
Yeah. Okay. May I interrupt you, gentlemen?
Right.
Yeah, before we discuss with the tacticals any further, let's just do some shout outs to our viewers. Okay, we have here Juan Miguel. Juan Miguel, good afternoon po mga ka-Pix Pro. And June Orong, good afternoon to you. And also to Joy Kenneth Salabiaso. Okay. Meron ka ba dyan? Oh, and si Raymond Gregory Tribdino, good day to all. Meron ka ba dyan? ED, Executive Director. Parang ayaw mag-pop. Oh, okay. From Marinel Belong, good afternoon po. Watching from Dipaculao,
Commute,
Aurora.
commute ka ba? Let, let me check.
Okay. And yeah. Oh, there, June. Parang mabagal din yung ano ko. June Estanos, good afternoon. Yes. Hello. Okay. And si Miss, ayan, si VP Kate Victorio. No? Good afternoon sa'yo. Hello. And si Justin Kyle Alitaw. Good afternoon. Yan, okay. So it's Friday afternoon at kwentuhang cybersecurity na naman tayo. And we are very fortunate to have with us our speaker who will be formally introduced later. But would you like to do some shout outs there in Malaysia? Would you like to say
uh,
hi to someone? To your
uh, Hello, everyone. So from Malaysia, I guess I'm a nervous wreck right now. So hopefully, hopefully I don't embarrass myself, and by extension, my own country.
No, you'll be just
Or
fine, Jack.
we're going to send the information to our friends in Malaysia.
And of course, yeah, good afternoon to Miss May from B1G2 Technologies. Hello, ma'am.
Good afternoon po. Thank you po. Shoutout na lang po sa B1G2 team.
Yan. And of course, our executive director. Baka may shout
Yeah.
out yan.
We're going to meet the Liga ng mga Barangay on June 3. So hopefully this is going to be a very educational one. We haven't have any idea the level of competency that they have. So it's gonna be an exploratory thing. So hopefully we can mirror this to other areas as well. They're very, very interested in learning cybersecurity and protection among the elderly and the children, particularly.
The whole country
Yes.
needs this.
Yes. Yes, and we actually have 2 more events, no? In public school this June. No, we will gonna be doing the cybersecurity awareness again, and again by last week of June we'll be flying to, is it South Ba or somewhere there to do MOU. So we need to do this vast and fast, no? Itong cybersecurity advocacy.
Western side of Visayas.
Western side, okay. Yes. And we are very
We just discussed earlier the website defacement of a subdomain of the Department of ICT by this hack for government
you're breaking up.
hack for government by the hack for government group. But what's very interesting in that in their message is they criticize the current leadership and praise the previous cybersecurity leadership. So,
So
if
it's gonna be a personal thing.
it looks like it, no? But if these were students, no? Or our students under that hack for government program, I think the most important value hindi na ituro dito, no? They were not taught of this very important value. Ethics. Ethics is very important in cybersecurity. No matter how good your intentions are, you cannot launch a hacking or a cyber attack against any target if you do not have permission. So if these are young people, you are missing the point. Wala kayong ethics. No. You wanted to send a message to the new secretary of the ICT. You should have done that in non intrusive or non-disruptive manner like cyber attack. All right, that's just the
Okay.
message for the young ones.
Yes.
George is here also, and
Yes.
Ellen is also here.
Yeah,
These
hello.
are NCR chapter officers.
Yeah. And there's also a reply. Jack, there's a reply here from your statement that you hope that you will not embarrass yourself. There's a reply here. It says, "No, you won't, Jack." It's from
Thank you.
June Estanos. And he's also
That's
saying,
from. It's not from.
Jaime.
The message is from Rose.
Jack.
Thank you for the vote of confidence. I guess I'll do my best. I guess.
Um,
Jasper from the Army Cyber Battalion is also here. Magandang hapon, Cyber Ninja.
Yes, and
Cyber
also
Attack. And
VP Alvin is already also here from La Union.
good afternoon. And former Batangas chapter president of PixPro, Pres Marlon. Good afternoon. And still the future president of Bulacan chapter of PixPro, Mr. Ray. Ang tagal na nito, Ray.
Ano ba?
Nito, Ray.
Yeah. Meron din tayo from Rizal, si Tanaman Matiga Rene. Good PM po ka Pro from Rizal.
Alright,
Okay.
Dr. Ruby, let's introduce our lecturer for this afternoon.
All right, so let's get this going. All right, so again, good afternoon mga ka-Pro. For today's discussion, we'll be talking about the anatomy of a cyber attack, analyzing initial attack vectors in Southeast Asian cybersecurity incidents in 2024. And we are very lucky to have with us to discuss about this the Southeast Asia Regional Sales Manager for CloudSec. Now, CloudSec is a threat intel platform that aims to predict cyber threats by combining the power of cyber intelligence, brand monitoring, attack surface monitoring, infrastructure monitoring, and supply chain intelligence to give context to customers' digital risk. Now, aside from that, our speaker was previously with Exclusive Networks, Fortinet, and Oracle Corporation, holding various leadership positions in sales and marketing roles at both national and regional level. So ladies and gentlemen, mga ka-Pix Pro, Mr. Jack Hizrat. Jack, thank you for your time and welcome to Kwentuhang Cybersecurity.
Thank you for the kind
Welcome, Jack.
introduction. Thank you for the kind introductions.
The stage is yours, Jack. We
All
will
right.
turn off our video and to give you your lecture.
Yes.
All right.
All right.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I mean, you don't have to do that, but thanks. So, yeah, thanks for the introduction, Ruby. That's very kind of you. And of course, again, as per introduced by Ruby, my name's Jack Hazret. Please call me Jack. I'm the regional manager for Southeast Asia for CloudSec, based out of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And yeah, so I'm representing the interests of CloudSec. So recently joined them back in 2024. That was early 2024. And previously, as we mentioned, I was with Oracle Communication and also previously before that with Fortinet. Yeah, so today we are going to, have a bit of a light discussion. If there is any question whatsoever, please, send it over to the moderators. I'll be more than happy to actually address them as they are presented over to me. So without further ado, the agenda today will be, first thing first to share with you guys the kind of threat landscape that we see as CloudSec here in Southeast Asia. Share with you with some case study. Some of the infamous ones, such as the Indonesia's national data center that happened that crippled the nation. The one with the Malaysia activist attack that was covered by the media, especially in Malaysia, and of course another case study in Thailand. What we can learn from this particular studies and but from this particular case studies. A bit of a refresher just in case when it comes to cybersecurity attack chain, why it's important, and of course something about what we believe in CloudSec, where IAV, the initial attack vector, is something more important rather than just IOCs, which is indicators of compromise. And of course, a bit of introduction of our solution, how we use our tools and also expertise in order to actually help our customers when it comes to IAV monitoring, via using IAV monitoring to help them, and some of our customer stories that we have and we can share. So yeah, so this is the landscape. So in case everyone was not aware, we have over 45 threat actor groups who are active in this region. Now, this number will probably not be accurate per se if you actually count the number of threat actors, regardless of their varying skills, right? So, but the way CloudSec does the quantification is that typically we give attention to threat actor groups that are more technical savvy, those who are actually more than capable to do exploitation of idle that leads to RCE, so on and so forth. So we saw that there are over 45 of them. And of course, this number grows ever so more. And of course, typically these threat actor, they always go where the money is. So BFSI, retail, and of course, something that Mr. Angel alludes to, right, where governments are also being targeted because most of the attacks happen because of activism and not just because of money reasons. Of course, reputation is something that always being attacked because that's why there's such a thing called state-sponsored actors, right? And yes, some of them within the 45 threat actor groups here that I mentioned, some of them are threat actor groups that is state-sponsored. And again, I'm sure it's covered in the news, not only in Southeast Asia, but of course in the Philippines, whenever there's a ransomware attack. And it's ever prevalent in this particular region. And I know I miss out Philippines here, but then again, let's just say that I think it's still okay for Philippines. Good job, I guess, because mostly 60% of the total ransomware attack happens in Indonesia, Singapore, and Malaysia. Why is that so? We have no idea. It seems that most of the attention goes to these three countries, right? So great job, Philippines, for staying under the radar. So that's good. And of course, some of this active ransomware group, one that is very notorious is called hotbed. So Lockbit was actually one of the ransomware detected, or at least a variant of it was the one that attacked the Indonesian national government and crippled them for about a week. So the first 2 days was horrible. I got some friends stuck in the airport, can't clear the security checkpoints and everything, and they had to actually stay at the airport for more than necessary. I don't want to say how many hours because there will be some. I mean, it's all anecdotal, right? So I probably this my friend would be like exaggerate his story, but let's just say more than necessary will be it. And of course, they also known to do triple extortion via encryption, theft, DDoS, and all that. And the funny thing about Lockbit is that the way that you actually avoid them is if you actually change your language to Russia. As in, if you install Windows and you use Russian language, I can assure you that your computer will not be attacked by Lockbit. So we know already who actually creates Lockbit, right? I know it's very funny, right, Mr. Primo? So that's the thing. It's really hilarious when you think about it that the way you want to avoid this ransomware is just by changing the language of your operating system, right? And then, of course, second is skillset, 10 known successful attacks. It scans for known vulnerabilities. So this is the kind of threat actor that is really known for their skills. There are some reports that most of them are state actors, like say Lockbit, for example. It could be state-sponsored. Killsec reports let's just say mixed, but they are also known to actually use info stealers in order to actually gain access. So what they do is that they scour the dark web for working credentials, and then after that, use the dark web, use the credentials in order to get into the system and then do post-exploitation attack. And of course, we have ransomware, Ransom Hub. So another known threat actor group that also produce ransomware that are known to do double extortion via encrypting, and then of course public links. So all of these groups, right, they are basically also sometimes called APT groups. They do what we call in the industry as ransomware as a service, right? So basically, if you want to, create your own ransomware, instead of knowing how to code, you can just go over to them. You do need to have some skill in order to actually access the lurks, where to access the site where they lurks. But then again, if you have the will, I'm sure you will have the way in order to actually gain access to them, and then of course can purchase the ransomware from them. So yeah, so that's a bit of a background when it comes to 2024. So let's go over to the first case study, right? So this is what happened in Indonesia. So 210 local services were impacted. So they have a very centralized, it is a very centralized distribution when it comes to the services by the Indonesian national government. And of course, I think it has been covered well enough that um, they don't have a business continuity plan. So that compounds the immense number of disruption that they receive, to the point where even the parliament in Indonesia actually berated the cybersecurity chief and also the head of national data center, right, for not having a business continuity plan. Um, they honestly speaking, they even admit in the parliament that the reason why this attack was so severe is because they do not have a backup to their actual data center. Right? They don't have a disaster recovery center, so this is why it was so horrible. But it took them a while to actually get back up and running. And yeah, so not only the local people, the locals, the Indonesian was also impacted, but of course, expatriates, visitors were also affected, because this even includes the services that people use in order to gain entrance into the country, right? So it was quite amazing that there's no loss of life when it was first reported, because again, 210 local services are no joke. So it's really great that nothing such as that happened. But then again, what we found out is that Brain Cipher actually take credit of this attack. So at first we were like kind of perplexed. Who's Brain Cipher? This is like a new group, right? But what we found out that Brain Cipher is actually is basically an evolution of Lockbit. So what happened is that this group actually take the Lockbit's own ransomware, and then they evolve it further. So we did our own malware. So at CloudSec, what we did is that we did a malware analysis, and we found out that all the signatures are all the same. There might be some modification to it, but all in all, at the core of it is still the same, right? So how they gain access is basically, again, it's a credential tab, using some social engineering in order to gain access, and of course, then they exploit non-vulnerabilities. And because all the services are so interconnected nowadays, especially when it comes to services that is stored within a single bare metal server, so it's very easy for you to actually do lateral movement once you exploit a vulnerability that can enable you to gain remote code exploitation, right? And yeah, so that's basically what happened to them. And it's very unfortunate that it happened to them. But then again, it's definitely a lesson learned for them. So after that, what we found out that again, vulnerabilities was exploited. They moved laterally, and then after that, conduct a comprehensive system takeover, and of course, the end result is a disruption of exploitation of services for state government. I'm sure if you try do well, if you try hard enough, you will find a lot of data on that incident still floating around on the internet. So it's either whether you want to actually spend money. Again, please don't. Let's not enable this particular activity, right? In order to, but then again, that's what happened to them. So my understanding is that the Indonesian government definitely learned a lot of lesson from this particular movement, and I hope that this is not going to be just a one-off effort to actually improve their cybersecurity posture. And of course, my own country also was not spared. Before the Indonesian government was attacked, Malaysian also was actually rocked. So what happened is that multiple Malaysian entries were targeted. There was even very embarrassing to one of the agency in Malaysia that handles the workers' right, I mean, workers' protection, social safety net. So what happened is that their meeting was actually hijacked by the threat actor. So the threat actor actually posted the whole entirety of the meeting itself. So so it kind of it's very I myself was actually kind of perplexed by this attack, but where how the local media was actually bouncing to this story, and that it becomes such a brouhaha in my country. But then again, it shows that there was some downtimes that happened, but of course reputation was actually lost, and again a lot of exposure of sensitive information. We even found out that there are local collaborators within the government itself. So I'm not gonna go out and say that there's a deep state going on, but then again, I guess there are some people that works in the government that perhaps, again, like Mr. Angel point out, are lacking when it comes to ethics on cybersecurity, right? So again, what they did is that they go out and scour mostly from the credential, and then what they did is that kind of like low level, like DDoS attack, data theft from the credentials that it's stolen, and of course website defacement. Um, and again, the way they handle the attack was basically just via social engineering techniques. So once they gain access, so they manage to actually fool people. So they do some spoofing by manipulating the fact that SPF there's an SPF vulnerability and also DMARC vulnerability in the DNS server that can enable someone to actually send email as if they are from that actual organization, right? So that's basically what we found out. A lot of vulnerabilities are being exploited. Again, access is done by availability. So I think perhaps the audience here can actually see that there's a pattern here emerging, right? So it will always start from vulnerabilities being targeted, and then after that, it credential attacks, then coordinated attacks involving DDoS, data theft, and also website defacement happen. And after that, of course, the main outcome will be a disruption of services. And yeah, again, this is also a case study tree. Yeah, spoiler alert, it will be more or less the same, right? Again, this Thai beverage company, again, we don't want to name names. I'm sure everyone here are more than resourceful in order to find out who was attacked. So about 253 gigabytes of database was actually stolen. Most of them are PII, right? Corporate and also accounting, HR, and sales. There are significant operational and financial impacts due to the breach. The firm was the beverage manufacturer was actually fined by the federal government of Thailand, and because this is basically just a pure breach of data. And of course, we identify. In fact, the threat actor named Bose R. This group actually claimed credit to this particular attack, and again, they are exploiting known vulnerabilities, data theft, and of course using social engineering. But then again, even though this again shows a significant way of how threat actor managed to get access is simply because they managed to actually exploit known vulnerabilities. So this is we're not talking about 0 day here. We're not talking about vulnerabilities that with a score of 10 in CVE but was just discovered 2 months ago. No, we're talking about vulnerabilities that has been around for 10, 15 years that are left unchecked, that was not found. So it's unfortunate again because I think it needs to be stressed that whenever there is a application being made, especially in-house, right? There's definitely a lack of sense of responsibility in keeping up with software bill of material. That even happened to the largest company, one of the largest company in the world. I think I'm a video gamer, so I followed. I always cheer whenever there's a new jailbreak spawn for a PlayStation console system. And the recent one for the latest, one of the latest version of firmware for PlayStation 4 was actually found using from a 10-year-old vulnerability. So the vulnerability never existed until that particular version until the latest version. I think it's already been patched, but again, vulnerability they didn't exist until that particular version, and somehow it's a vulnerability that was 10 years ago discovered or already reported, right? So again, a software bill of material plays an important role. You should always know what kind of software that you actually use and what kind of version, and whether that version has really have any known vulnerabilities that is more than 5 or even 10 years, right? So back to the topic, the attackers managed to gain access to the security flaws in the Thai beverage maker, and then again, vulnerabilities was actually being exploited. Coordinated attacks was done. They managed to do lateral movement in order to actually gain access to the database and conduct exfiltration techniques. And of course, at the end of it, we all know that about 253 gigabyte worth of data has been stolen. So what can we infer? I think everyone can actually understand that, most of the time, this is all because of initial attack vectors. How they are attacked are basically because they are unable to actually detect what kind of initial attack vectors that was actually use in order to gain access. So, for example, Indonesia data center, that attack happened because the threat actor managed to actually exploit vulnerabilities in government system security protocols when for system that is public facing. Second will be, Malaysia activist attack. Again, the same thing. And of course, Thai beverage, also the same thing. So this is some of the prominent attacks that we've seen that enters the news, enters the public consciousness. And we see that again and again, a lot of vulnerabilities are being left unchecked. Just now, Mr. Angel and I had a conversation where vulnerabilities assessment are basically just a compliance tool. And I agree. Unfortunately, a lot of agencies or even businesses, they just do VAPT just for the sake of doing it because they want to comply to the compliance check. So they do it like, every 6 months, every 1 year. Whereas here at CloudSec, we are a proponent that VAPT should be a constant thing. And we understand it's tough to do constantly. In fact, that's the reason why we came into the market, in order to actually provide ways for our customers and even our prospect, right, to actually do a VAPT, at least the VA part of it, at least the VA part of it, vulnerability assessment on a cyclical basis that is more like a 24/7 kind of thing, right? So we are capable to actually do that. We have developed the technology to do that. And it has been in development for the last 10 years and constantly being developed. So that's what we're trying to bring to the market, right? So, but in any case, what we managed to actually achieve here is that we managed to actually, if you notice here, right? So this is a cybersecurity attack chain, obviously. So I'm sure that everyone is familiar with it. So our tool that we developed are able to actually, map out the attack surface. So it's important here for companies, for agencies, to actually understand where exactly can an attack come. And most attacks, because they come in from outside of their perimeter, right? I'm sure a lot of companies, a lot of entities have spent a lot of money in order to actually strengthen their perimeter. But then again, it's always amazes me when I visit a client and then when I show them, this is the subdomain that I see from you, and then they be like arguing with me, saying that, oh, I don't recognize this subdomain. How did you found this subdomains and everything? So I was like, oh, I would be like, oh, I thought you should know, right? Because this is what we see in the public. So perhaps you should be aware too, because this is if you don't know about it, then how you're supposed to protect it, right? So that's what our tool visibly can give to our clients, like visibility. And of course, our tool is also able to actually scour the deep web, the underground web, and even the surface web, right, that everyone visit, in order to actually bring back data worth of petabytes to actually see whether there are there any leakages that can actually enable the threat actor actually gain foothold within the net, with the credentials, so that you can actually check whether the credentials that has already been leaked, can it be used against you right now, or has it been invalidated, right? So this is what we actually deliver. So what we have been doing for the past 10 years across the world, and what we actually intend to deliver. Now, why are the initial attack vectors are more important than indicators of compromise? Well, first thing first is, of course, indicator of compromise has already happened, right? So it's important it's important. IOCs are important, again, because you need to recognize that this has been leaked, so that now you can actually try to figure out how it was leaked in the first place. So you use IOCs in order to identify the initial attack vectors, right? So basically, IOCs give you information about what kind of malware was being used, what are the hashes, so that you can actually feed it over to your EDR, so that your EDR can now hunt for the malware, right? So let's say, for example, if bank A was attacked by a certain malware, so you try to actually ask your vendor, so that Mr. Vendor, I have the IOCs for this particular malware, so that I can feed it back to my EDR, so that my EDR can actually seek the such a malware. So that's basically why so IOC is still in use here, it's still important, but it's basically just you can use it as preventative manner, but then again, mostly you need to have a victim first, then you can only protect yourself, which is kind of like too late already by that time, at least for the victim. And of course, the malicious domain and hashes that you already found in the internet. And what is IAVs then? So IAVs is more actually go beyond from this particular tool on IOCs, where it helps to actually give you a more comprehensive understanding when it comes to your security posture and your entire attack surface, right? And of course, it is done in order to, it's important also because it helps to actually reduce the downtime and costs, right? Because you already identify this is a potential initial attack vector. Hence, you strengthen your security, you do the necessary in order to ensure that that particular initial attack vector won't be able to actually be used against you. And of course, it's a holistic risk management, right? Because that's, well, at least the mission statement that we have in CloudSec, because we want to assist our client in order to be more proactive, to actually predict the kind of cyber attack that could actually happen to them, to a point. So it's essentially, that's what IAVs are done, used for. And of course, contextual intelligence is also important because when every single threat intel platform in the market, even myself, when we say that it sounds so impressive, right? You collect data on the internet and then you bring it back to the data lake or data warehouse, whatever you want to call it. But then again, those things are all garbage because it is only when you give context then garbage becomes information, right? So the tool itself has to be able to actually give you context, whether this particular thing should matter to you or should not matter to you. And then of course, which one should be prioritized more? What kind of data that should have, that information should have so that it becomes something actionable for you. And if it's actionable, is it something that is critical or is it something that you can actually put below priority? And of course, continuous monitoring. Again, Mr. Angel, just now, I know he has a very strong opinion when it comes to VAPT, and I don't blame him. But here's the thing: our proposal to the market, or even to the whole entire cybersecurity community, is that wouldn't it be great if VAPT can actually be something that is done, daily, weekly, not something that is done for 1 year, once a year. So that's why we are here. We are trying to assist our prospects, our customers, or I mean, even our customers now. A lot of them has been with us for more than 5 years, right? From across various regions. So they actually, use us in order to actually have an understanding, continuously understand what kind of risks that they are exposed to. And of course, enable them to actually take evasive action before things actually hit the fan. And yeah, so basically IEVs are more proactive rather than IOCs, because IOCs, things already happen. Our tool can still help you on that because, like any leaks, speed of reaction is important. So we try to actually give you that advantage of speed, get you the data before the data is weaponized against you. And of course, IAVs are more towards proactive in nature, so that we give you the tools in order to identify what's going to be a potential problem for you, for things that is exposed to the public. So this is how we protect, right? For example, this is a prominent Malaysian telecom company. So this is something that we discuss. This is actually a proof of concept. This happened during a proof of concept for our client. So what happened is that we managed to find a working credential from a 44 million combo list. So if you're not aware, your data is basically being shared across kind of free, because when it comes to combo list, it's just free. They just post it the data, you can download it. If you have access to it, well, there's a lot of damage that can be done from anyone, right? So it provided access to a Tableau server actually. So the impact can be enormous. So what we found out that so we verify the data itself, and then we show it to the customer. Turns out that we can actually access customer information, financial data, or operational insight, and of course our proprietary HFC maintenance data. So it's really, I mean, it has a lot of potential to be damaging, not only on reputation, but of course when it comes to service level to their customer, right? And turns out the initial attack vector was just a credential. And people, and of course, we discussed with the client how this particular information can leak out in the first place. Turns out that essentially from the employee's own personal PC. So we actually, did some advisory to the customer on how to actually minimize this particular incident in the future. So here's some prevention. So we told them that, our tool are the one who actually managed to find this particular thing, the particular leak, and we enable them to actually reset the compromised data. So the reason why we ask them to reset is because I'm aware when it comes, usually a lot of people not really worried when their credentials are leaked out. I'm also not really worried usually because just because you have my Google login and Google password doesn't mean that you can access my Google, right? Because there is such a thing called multi-factor authentication, right? You have to actually verify that you are trying to log in. But here's the thing: if you are not affected by InfoStealer malware, all is good. But my advice is that if possible, every 30 days, I would still recommend you not only to change your password, but of course to actually use that sign up from all devices button or link. The reason why is because when InfoStealer is affected your PC, right? What happened is that it's not only stealing your password hashes, which can be decrypted. It takes time, but still it can be decrypted. What is stolen is also your security token. And security token can just be replayed. So that means that I don't need to know your password. I don't need to have access to your phone to allow me access. All I need to do is just replay the token. So again, credential leaks is a fact of life. It's never the question of if you're going to be leaked. It's always a question of when you are going to get leaked. So my advice, every 30 days, make it a habit to actually change your password, sign up from all devices. And that so that the security token that might have leaked can actually be would not be able to be used against you, right? So that's my advice to everyone, and of course to myself. Sometimes I know it's kind of like what we in Malaysia we call it mafan. So it's a Chinese word, mafan. So it means that it's a chore. It's a chore to do it, right? So, but then again, it is something that I mean, at the very least, I guess you should do it for your Google account or your Microsoft account, so that at the very least, the things that really is prominent to your life won't be affected as much. Yeah. So another one will be the South Asian financial major. So what happened to them is that they have a fraudulent Telegram bot that is actually doing scams. So what happened to them is that a fraudulent campaign was discovered in Telegram, and we actually found out that the bot tricked users into sharing their digital wallet account numbers. Again, I guess this is financially motivated. It's unfortunate that people fall into this. People always say that how. I mean, I'm not gonna criticize the victims here, but it is unfortunate that their situation are being exploited, and of course, the impact is huge because it involves their financial situation. So there is an exposure of the customer's financial data, and and above all, even the corporation, the bank that actually had this particular scam targeted was actually having their reputation damaged. Even though it's just unfortunate. There's a lot of stray bullets here. So digital wallet account numbers and other PII were actually being risked and exposed, and of course, this actually risk the event of a stolen identity can actually be used against them. So again, initial attack vector turns out to be Telegram. So this is again just because. So again, IAV doesn't need to be something that is on your perimeter or something that is to public facing. It can even be a third party service. So in this case, Telegram was found to be the initial access vector. So what we did to help our client was to actually, we discovered that such a Telegram bot impersonation device, and then we report that. We report them to our client. We tell them this is how we find it. This is the context. And of course, they use that particular information in order to actually remediate the situation and make it so that the victims won't be exploited anymore further. So, conclusion. So, a robust cybersecurity posture involves monitoring initial attack vectors are needed. And of course, sorry, a bit of marketing talk. our solution are actually able to actually help our clients on that. So we have something for rogue attack vectors. So this is more towards the DRPS that manages external threats. So as a threat intel platform, this is one of our best-selling solution in the market. And of course, we also still have the unknown attack vectors, which is more dealing towards information. So this is where our CPI comes in. And of course, our customer also, we encourage them to actually, try out our Be Vigil Enterprise, which is more towards the infrastructure threats, things that are public facing that actually serve the entryway for threat actor to get access to your network. And of course, in the connected world, it is also important that you are aware that threats can actually come in even from your supplier or even from your closest business partner or even from your closest customer, right? Because this happened once to I would say I'm not happened once, that it happens plenty of time. Like I think if you guys can just Google Airbus security incident in 2023. So what happened to them is that they were impacted by exfiltration of data, and what happened to them is that the hacker actually managed to gain access not from a employee of Airbus, but actually it gained access from another customer of them. Again, I don't want to name the customer, their customer. So what happened is that their customer employee have access to the Airbus system, and then that particular credential was actually leaked out. And then they used this particular credential in order to gain access to Airbus, and of course, from there on, start doing the exfiltration of the network. So yeah, that's the conclusion so far. So again, thank you so much for listening to us, to me. We're CloudSec. We're founded back in 2015, so we've been a while in the market for the last 10 years. We're headquarters in Singapore with offices in India, UK, and the US. So yeah, we're still a startup. We're still young. Hopefully, we just finished our Series B funding, so we are going to have another series funding soon. So I hope that I can see you guys in person together with our partner B1G2 Technologies over at Philippines. Thanks. Back to the panel.
All right.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you
Thank
for
you,
that
Jack.
very interesting discussion. I like the first part
Thank you.
about
Thank you, Jack.
the Russia, the
The what?
installation, the
Ah.
language that you need to put.
I try to be as articulate as possible.
Before we go to the discussion part, I saw the one and only Cyber Ranger, the chief of the AFP Cyber Command, the one and only Cyber Commander, Colonel Joey Pontiveros. I saw
Wow.
him signed in. Oh, good afternoon, Cyber Ranger.
Yeah.
With and Idol Lester Gastala is also watching. Good evening, Idol. Yung mga kasama natin sa industry. Our audience is coming from a wide area, not only in the Philippines but also international, and we have different skills and talents now watching us.
Yes.
So
I
your
see.
presentation, Jack, is very interesting.
Thank you.
I like the use cases.
Yep.
I would have presented it the same way as you did.
Yes, and yeah, actually, there's once June Estanis is saying thank you for the information, Jack.
Thank you for I mean, thanks for the kind words. Appreciate
Yes,
it.
and also Nasila Zerep says thanks, Jack. All right.
Oh, and
Yeah.
Colonel Pontiveros was saying very nice lecture, Jack.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Thank you. I hope things I shared today is useful because as you can see, when it comes to leakages, right, nothing really malicious about it. Often it's nothing about malicious, and often it's not something like we see in the movies, right? When this person are being, let's say, lay off, and then they start leaking information and everything. I mean, that happened. I'm not saying that that didn't happen. It happened last year in Singapore, if I'm mistaken. So, but oftentimes it's just unsuspecting. So it's really unfortunate, because a lot of things can actually be improved. And again, it's just constant vigilance when it comes to your security posture, especially those that are facing the public.
We also have a viewer from the Armed Forces of the Philippines, Office of the Adjutant General. Jinyu. Good afternoon. So, Jack, I think we go back to the problem of the cybersecurity issues are growing bigger,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
but majority of us
mm-hmm,
in the business, private and government entities,
mm-hmm,
due to a lot of limitations,
mm-hmm,
we are unable to cope up with the growing issues. Right?
mm-hmm.
Before we only worried about HTML websites. So that's why defacement was very easy during those days. No? And then we started offering website services that requires a database in the back end.
Mhm.
And now we have APIs.
Mhm.
We used to term that as middleware in 2000, 2001, right?
Mhm.
Now we
Mhm.
have APIs.
Yeah.
So the technology on the infra side and the technology on the user side is getting more and more sophisticated, thereby creating a broader and bigger attack surface. But on the defense side, we only improve our our posture on a yearly basis after we get budget approved,
Yeah.
right? It's nice to have everything. It's
Yes, correct.
good to have everything. On the technology side, definitely it's not just one product that you need. You're gonna need a lot of products.
Mhm.
Right? On the governance side, you're gonna need a lot of policies.
Mhm.
On the risk management side, you're gonna need. So in short, there's people, process, and technology. But if people, we are not producing enough cybersecurity professionals.
Mhm. Mhm.
On the technology side, the advancement of technologies is faster than the advancement of the people side.
Mhm.
And threat actors are getting better and better every day, while the defenders are not, because we are vendor driven. So with your use cases, that explains. Imagine 5 years from now,
Mhm.
if that's going to change, is that going to improve? What do you
Mhm.
think?
Well, that's why we're here, right? So, when our founder first started the company 10 years ago, so what we envisioned is that exactly as you mentioned. At that time, the question was, even if we develop a security tool that can do all this, nobody has the time or even the resources in order to sift through the amount of attack surfaces, the amount of data that has been leaked out, right? So our tool, at the very least, I can't speak for other vendors, but our tool has always been built with AI, or rather at that time they call it machine learning, right? Just like where you mentioned it was called middleware, now it's called API. So at that time, we always envision our platform to be a machine learning driven since day one. So we leverage machine learning in order to actually assist the threat analyst to actually quickly sift through the mess and just try to focus on what could actually be a potential threat. And we've been doing this for the last 10 years. For example, right, you mentioned when it comes to attack surfaces, right? We employ our technology to quickly try to understand. So what we do for vulnerability assessment at the very least, right, is that customer can only just tell us their domain. We don't need any other information. They don't need to open any ports. They don't need to whitelist our IP addresses, just domain. So from the domain itself, we are able to actually discover a lot of things about the customer. And then from there on, we also managed to actually find out what kind of technology that they have that is facing the public. And from there, we are able to actually match whether the current version of technologies that they use, whether it has vulnerabilities or not. As so we leverage machine learning, AI, in order to actually speed up things and process. Because human, regardless how brilliant they are, I'm sure we've seen a lot of brilliant people that can really are talented in finding threats, right? They only have so much time, right? So time is limited, and oftentimes, due to the lack of context, they couldn't actually find the threat. So we are here to actually help these people so that they can actually just quickly take the results that we have and then go to the PT side. So instead of spending 3 months, 4 months to actually do vulnerability assessment, we can actually shorten that in just a week or even less than a week, so that they can spend more time trying to see whether such vulnerabilities that actually exist can actually be weaponized against them or not. So at the very least, that's what our tool is actually designed for. And so far, we've been very, very much successful for the past 10 years helping our customers do that.
Okay, Jack, there's message here from Lester Basilio Gastala. I missed the first part, but hearing Jack expound on the power of CloudSec, on cyber intelligence, brand monitoring, attack surface monitoring, infrastructure monitoring, and supply chain intelligence, I can't wait to try the solution against scenarios specific to the Philippines.
I mean, I'm excited for the Philippine market to actually try out our solution too. I mean, that's why we partner with B1G2 in order to actually allow the Philippine market to actually have this. Good news, we do not charge anyone for POC. This is not just for Philippines, by the way. For entirety of the world, we do not charge anyone for our POC. We'll be more than happy to actually, allow customer to or rather prospect to actually try out our solution. And mind you, that our trial version is just like the actual full version itself. So you can be sure that I am not going to hold back on my solution when it comes to you evaluating. But then again, when it comes to when you decide after you try out our solution in the full ability, we still understand, budget is a constraint, and priorities, and oftentimes you have to actually prioritize the things that you need now, and then of course maybe have in mind or what you need later, right? So that's why we allow everyone to try out everything that we have, and then after that, they are free to choose which one is priority and which one can actually be put forth in another time frame. So yeah, let us know. Again, B1G2 is our partner here. They have been properly enabled. We are glad to have them on board. And yeah, so just reach out to B1G2 and they'll do the rest.
Peter Ruby, may I?
Go ahead.
Actually, Jack, thank you very much for that well-researched presentation. But there's one point there that you've said, and highlighting the Philippines as one of the lowest cyber
In
attacks.
context, I'm in context.
I mean,
so
I would
context
like to
matters
ask, yeah, that's why I would like to ask our chairman here, because he's the oldest as far as cybersecurity is concerned in our group. Why is that? Is it because we're lagging behind the computerization and integration, or there's some other reason why the Philippines has very low incident?
Very low incident.
Yes, according to the statistics presented. Can you show that slide?
There are two perspectives in incidents, no, reported and non-reported. So probably in the Philippines, and we also do not conduct surveys in the Philippines. So there is no research and
Oh,
there's no
record.
study. So reported. I mean, even me with my previous job, no, every time we see a number that is reported incidents or attacks against our country, it's always different than what we have, because the number of attacks is really very high, and the number of successful incidents that is reported is low. Because no one wants to report incidents. And if you ask them if they're compromised, they say it's a technical glitch. Oh, and there was no breach. Oh, there's no data stolen. Oh, so all these things, because it's a reputational issue. But if there's an actual data, if we are only if everyone will only report, including the users, no, the victims of fraud and scams, we'd be having a lot more incidents, I believe.
I agree.
Okay, okay.
I agree. So another way to look at it is, of course, like let's say, for example, Indonesia, not to not to punch down our neighbor, right? Again, they have the one of the largest GDP in this region, right? I mean, three times the size of Malaysia GDP. So I'm not surprised when it comes to the number of attacks. Of course, they also have a lot more endpoints compared to Malaysia, compared to Philippines. So it's kind of natural. And then, of course, I guess because of but again, this I agree with Mr. Angel's assessment that what I presented here is basically just the known successful attacks. We have no idea at all what's the actual number, right? Because a lot of companies basically don't report it. Or rather they misreport it in order to do reputational management. Again, not something uncommon. In fact, Oracle did that. So
Yeah.
They
we
denied
they deny it, right? They deny initially, which results to our reputation on the line. So because we were the one who actually reported it, we went all out. Now, full disclosure, before we went public, we did reach out to Oracle. So again, like Mr. Angel said, right, ethics matters. You can report whatever you want, but you also have to come with the receipts. And not only that, you also have to give a chance for the victim, or rather in this case, Oracle, to actually react. Oracle chose not to do anything. We think that it's it's Oracle. They choose not to do anything. We think that, but then again, we think that this too huge to just keep quiet. So we went public, and I was knowing Oracle. I'm not surprised that they came out and say that no, we're not attacked. But of course, with our reputation in line, we did our CEO, our founder, actually went public again for a follow up posting, and actually share with the public how we verify and why we willingly come forward with our reputation in the line. Again, Oracle still deny it, but I think at the end of the whole incident, right, about 14 days on after that incident was first made public, the consensus of the internet, and of course the cybersecurity that follows the story, is that Oracle kind of admit without admitting it. So they kind of like they kind of be like what do you call it, Schrodinger cat of a Schrodinger. It's kind of like Schrodinger cat's situation. So yeah, I mean that happens. I mean, I again, it's understandable that Oracle react that way, but well, on another side, there's also a lot of our prospect and clients was actually, very much displeased with Oracle in fact, we did receive a lot of calls, a lot of requests to actually discuss about that incident in a more private manner, because a lot of sensitive, especially those who were affected, because we actually managed to gain like 10,000 worth of entries from the actual sample. From 6 million, we managed to gain 10,000. It is quite damaging. I'll be candid with you.
We have a question here, BP Ruby. What can you say about the recent report about the attempted cyber attack on a workstation deployed in BRP Melchora Aquino? I saw that somewhere, but I did not read that report. So I don't know.
Same. I'm not aware of that, unfortunately.
No, for me also. I saw that circulating in Facebook. I did not read that report, so I don't know. But what we know for sure is that we are under constant cyber attack, both from money-making threat actors like cyber criminals and nation-state actors like our neighbor friend China.
Yep.
So I won't be surprised, but I did not read that report.
Yes. And also there is request from Cyber Ranger. Can we have a copy of the recording? Yeah, and this is being posted in our Facebook page.
And YouTube.
Also, it's being uploaded to YouTube. Yeah, so you can
You can review.
rewind
You can
this.
review. Yeah.
Yeah, yes. All right, to view this. Okay, so it's just like that. It's already 6 o'clock. I wish we have more time. I think Kuya Primo still has more questions on why Philippines has not been placed as the top.
Actually,
This is not a competition. This is not a
Yeah.
competition.
but
No.
maybe on the cybersecurity index.
Yeah.
We are not doing good on the cybersecurity index.
Yeah, actually, yeah, this is a very good study, Jack. I actually have a question, but I will defer it to our next discussion. So that
Okay.
means that you'll be you will come back as a
Can we have this last questions na lang?
okay.
If an organization starts doing a vulnerability assessment of its web applications, is there a recommended checklist of attack vectors to inspect? Will OWASP top 10 suffice? Jack?
The
Yes or no?
low-hanging fruit. Okay. It's not a yes and no, straight yes and no. The low-hanging fruit is, of course, always not that. But that being said, there's definitely a lot more. I mean, like I would say that I agree. I would say that I go back to what we discussed about earlier, right, Mr. Angel? That vulnerability assessment is here's the thing. My recommendation is like this. I'm trying to really compress it in the interest of time. It's not enough to just doing OWASP top 10, like once every 6 months. You need to actually do it more than that. And when I say more than that, I'm saying every day, actually. Because vulnerability doesn't be like, oh, you know what, you're not doing VAPT, so that means that I'm just going to sit here and not reveal myself until 6 months later, 6 months down the road. So that doesn't work. Vulnerability can exist now. And then you wouldn't know it, and because you don't conduct your vulnerability assessment. So if you're doing OWASP top 10, that's actually more than enough. But then again, if you're saying that OWASP top 10 every 6 months, then I would say that you should redouble your effort, or rather triple your effort, honestly speaking. That's my suggestion. I mean, yes, compliance helps. It saves you from legal trouble. It saves you from a lot of legal issue. But then again, by right, you should do more than to satisfy your compliances, more than satisfying your checklist. You can follow, if you're a healthcare, follow HIPAA. But of course, when it comes to vulnerability, again, frequency is the name of the game here. If you're a if you're a banking entity or maybe a merchant, PCI is something that you should actually use. Again, frequency is the name of the game here. At the very least, our solution, that's what we're trying to do for our clients, and we've been doing that for the past 10 years. We enable them to actually have the frequency that can actually matter for ensuring that they always have the highest security posture possible, right? And instead of spending 3 months just to find a vulnerability, we can actually shorten the time period. And on top of that, we also do it black box style. So this is not like something like I have to interview you first in order to understand your software bill of material, then I do vulnerability assessment. No, all I need from all, at least for CloudSec, all we need to know is at the very least your domain, and we do the self-discovery. And it's not like someone sitting behind the keyboard trying to find your tech stack. No, our tool are able to actually uncover what kind of tools, what kind of dependencies that you have, and from there on see whether the dependencies can actually be exploited or not.
All right, last question. Coming from Kuya Tribs or Raymond Gregory Tribdino. He is also part of Tech Sabado. No? It's also like Casey, but Tech Sabado has been around for many years. These guys are already
A
pillar.
veteran.
Yeah. So Kuya Tribs is asking, since our guest is from Malaysia, let me ask some background on the ransomware attack on Kuala Lumpur International Airport last March 2025. I believe this was a significant attack on critical infrastructure that disrupted flight information systems. The ransomware group Kilin claimed responsibility. How was this settled? Would you know?
It was never settled. So
They didn't
before
pay.
Kilin didn't okay, the one that was reported in March was Kilin take take credit, right, for the successful attack. The thing is, even before Kilin actually announced that they're the one who actually does it, our prime minister actually went ahead and said that I'm not going to pay. So so it was, I think, in February, or in any case, it was before that particular acknowledgement that Kilin was the one. And what happened to Malaysia airports is that there was some event our prime minister was doing, and then he was like openly saying that, by the way, MHB was was ransomed. Not much of impact happened, and yes, that's the thing. Again, not to punch down our neighbor, I really don't mean to do it. But let's say, for example, you take in contrast what happened to Indonesia government. So they themselves admit in parliament, we don't have a business continuity plan. We don't have a DRC. That's why the impact was prolonged, right? But in MAHB case, it's unfortunate. Again, similar to Indonesia government, they were attacked. But the DRC, the business continuity was in place. Was there a disruption? Yes, there was a disruption. Was it prolonged? No. In fact, that even happened to Prasarana, our public transport company, government linked company, right? Were they attacked? Yes. Were they a victim of ransomware? Yes. Was it, or was people unable to go to work using the public transport? No. The trains are still working. Everything is still working because there is a disaster recovery center in place. It works. And of course, business continuity plan was in place and it actually works. So again, robustness is key here. Now, back to the story of what happened to MAHB, Malaysia Airlines Holdings, Malaysia Airport Holdings, right? So our prime minister again, went ahead and said that I'm not going to pay $10 million to this particular ransomware group. We were also shocked. I was shocked. I was like, what? So we were attacked, and then our prime minister just go ahead and say that. And then it was only after a few months that we actually, after a few weeks, I believe, that Kilin claimed responsibility, and now the data is floating around. So, so now the data is floating around. Is it possible to take it down? No, not possible. Once it's out there, it's out there. So it's only going to be replicated. Someone will definitely gonna buy it. What's important right now is to ensure that whatever can be invalidated can be invalidated. And of course, to actually strengthen more and try to find out why it happened in the first place. So we did CloudSec tried to reach out to MAHB, but I guess they already have their. I guess they already have a lot of people calling them. So unfortunately, we didn't manage to actually help or learn more on that. But yeah, that's such is
Actually,
the name of the game.
the Malaysian government is very fortunate that they have a disaster recovery center, right?
Mhm.
In a ransomware attack, uh, uh, putting back the operations the soonest possible time is just one problem. Okay, you can address that. But if the threat actors were able to extract the personal information and threatens or blackmails the victim to go public and say these are the personal information that we got. What would have the Malaysian government done with that? Because the threat is only on the ransom on the encrypted data. There was no threat on the extracted data. In some cases, or in many cases of ransomware infection, before encryption, there's extraction. Right? So the ransomware gangs or the threat actors will first negotiate on the access of the data. That the decryption key. Yes. Okay, you pay. After you pay, oh, by the way, I also extracted your data. Right? Now, if you don't want me to sell this to the dark web, well, you better pay for it. No? So that's now, okay, we will pay. Don't sell it to the dark web. Okay, then you paid. And then, oh, by the way, I can also tell the regulators that I have your data. So you need to do another payment. That is how it is.
Yeah.
And then if you do not improve your posture, you just fix this, you call the vendor and say, hey, can you help us? But not really in the entirety of your digital environment. Then this ransomware gangs will sell the access to another threat actors. Hey, we have a backdoor deployed in this environment. We're already done with them. So here, you pay for it, then that's yours, right? So in the international airport of KL, the ransom was just to give back the encrypted data or the decryption key for the encrypted data. There was no extraction of data. That's why with the disaster recovery center, that's not a problem. Let them keep that encrypted data. We can operate in 24 hours. We don't need that data. We have that data.
True. So another thing that helps in Malaysia also, right, is that because we did recently pass a cybersecurity bill earlier this January. So what happened is that if any cybersecurity incident happen in a national critical infrastructure, so in this case, Malaysia Airports Holdings Berhad is responsible for a critical infrastructure, right? Our airports, right? Our port of entry. So what's going to happen is that if it's unreported and found to be liable, if I'm mistaken, the C-suite, I think it's the CEO, can actually face a fine of 500,000 ringgit, and of course can face up to 10 years of jail time, of imprisonment. So we do have that in place and actually in being exercised. So that's why MAHB have to tell the NACSA. NACSA is basically our National Agency of Cybersecurity, National Agency Cybersecurity. I can't remember the other A. I can't remember on top. So basically, NACSA is our cybersecurity.
Our laws, no, on data privacy and cybersecurity is being weaponized by the threat actors. It's being weaponized. You do not pay me, I will tell the whole world. I will tell your regulator. Right? One company in US, it was the hackers who reported to the regulator because
Yeah.
the victim did not want to pay.
Yeah.
So it's being
So
weaponized. That's another conversation.
yeah.
Yeah.
So at the very least for us is that yeah, it's if you don't want to pay, we tell. But then again, I guess kudos to MHB. They'd be like, you know, just report to the Prime Minister office. We got attacked and just come clean with it. So at the very least, we have that culture here. So that's why our Prime Minister was the one who actually announced to the world that, you know, MHP was a victim, and then only then Kilin admit that, oh yeah, we are the one who do it, and we have the data. This is the MHP data. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
All right. So thank you so much, Mr. Jackie Zrat. We look forward to hearing from you again.
I
on
look forward to be here. If you help me, if you help me for the next time, then I'll look forward to be here.
Yeah, we will ask again Miss May to invite you. And Miss May, thank you for making this happen. Do you have any message for our Capix Pro?
Thank you also. Maybe to reiterate what our discussion was. So I think it's like from being reactive, since that's the traditional here in the Philippines in terms of cybersecurity. So we have to be more proactive to truly strengthens the not only organization cybersecurity posture, but the whole Philippines, I think. Yeah, so we have to, you know, embrace changes in terms of cybersecurity since it's evolving fast. So that's I think that's my learning or key takeaways from this discussion.
Thank you. Thank you, Miss
Thank
May.
you.
Thank you, B1G2 Technologies. And again, thank you, Jack, Mr. Chair, and our Executive Director. Let's do the closing message.
All right. So it's Friday once again, and while everyone is excited to have a happy weekend, sa cybersecurity professionals,
Happy
happy
lang,
Happy lang.
walang
Walang
weekend.
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 All right. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Good evening.
Thank you
Jack,
so
thank you
much,
very much,
Jack.
Jack.
Thank you,
Thank
Thank
you
Miss
for
May.
having me.
Thank you,
Thank you
Jack.
so
Thank you, everyone.
much.
Thank you,
Nice
mga
weekend
Kapix
ahead.
Pro.
See you. See you
Bye.
next week, Jack.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, bye.